Hello, I'm Robin. I'm a certified financial planner, certified private wealth advisor, wealth manager by trade, and your rich auntie. I got a really wonderful email, and it was a follow-on to my video, 0 to 1 Million, A Wealth Manager's Take. This individual is 27, and he wanted to know if I could go back in time and be 20 years old again and have the knowledge now that I have now, back when I was 20 years old. What would I tell myself to become a millionaire before the age of 30? I thought it was a great question, and so I wanted to talk about it today. And as a financial advisor, when I'm sitting in my office and I have a client in front of me and the client is very young, my antenna always goes up when they want to be very wealthy, very young. Now, for statistics' sake, in America, 1% of millionaires become millionaires in their 20s. 5% of millionaires become millionaires in their 30s. The vast majority of millionaires are created in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. So it is exceptionally rare to become a millionaire before 30, exceptionally rare to become a millionaire before 40, but it does happen. And barring, twists of fate and, complete twists of luck, like winning the lottery or finding out that you are the beneficiary of a trust fund, most people work for their money over time. And I think that anything that potentially shortcuts that process can lead to problems. For example, I had an opportunity to become a financial advisor directly out of college when I was 20 years old. I didn't actually become a financial advisor until I was 36. And in the 15 years, I worked many jobs, some good, some great, some awful. I lived abroad. I worked government, I worked private industry, I worked nonprofit, I worked corporate. And by the time I got to the threshold of being a financial advisor, my work experience had really humbled me. I had a greater appreciation for my clients and what they did every day to build their wealth. And I felt an awesome responsibility to managing their money and managing their money well, because I understood what they did every day for 10, 20, 30, many years to get that wealth. I think building wealth is much the same. You really have to put yourself into the experience of building wealth. And my clients who acquire wealth over time and who build that wealth over time often have a greater understanding and a greater appreciation for that wealth than people who got lucky or had some twist of fate where the money came easily. Now, that isn't to say that my clients in 20s and their 30s who are wealthy didn't work for it. But just keep that in mind, that people often have a greater appreciation for wealth when they actually had to put in the work for it. Also, typically when people are young and want to become wealthy, I find that they can be very susceptible to snake oil salesmen and to grift, because they often don't have the experience to be able to snuff out a fraud. If you go on YouTube, there's any number of videos and content creators that are promising get rich quick. And people fall into this trap all the time. And the people who typically fall the hardest are people who are young and people who don't have that much experience. People who are older and have experience can usually tell when an experience or a promise is being oversold. And they understand that get rich quick is basically code word for a scam or a problem. So, that's my initial take on someone who's very young in their 20s or 30s who want to be a millionaire. Now, if after disclosing all of that, the person tells me, I'm fixed and determined, I'm going to be a millionaire by time I'm 30, by time I'm 40, what are you going to tell me? I would say this: if you want to become very wealthy, very young, it's going to happen one of three ways. And you're going to do it yourself. You're not going to win the lottery. You're not going to receive an inheritance or some other twist of fate. It's going to happen one of three ways. The first way is through real estate. First way is through real estate. You start buying properties. You start acquiring properties. You're very diligent and very skilled at managing properties, and you make it happen over time. Now, the problem with this is real estate can be tricky, right? I remember one of my friends who worked in real estate, who managed properties, he would always say, real estate is toilets, trash, and tenants. And he's absolutely right. Real estate requires some skill to manage. It also requires initial leverage. If you're a broke 18-year-old, no bank is going to lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars so you can get your first property. So if you want to do real estate, what I would say, for your first few years out of college, you're going to work and you're going to save. You're going to work, you're going to save, and then you're going to work with a real estate agent to identify a property that is a good bargain. I would honestly stay away from flipping unless you have some experience doing contractor work or working with contractors. But essentially, there's very few 18-year-olds that can basically launch headfirst into real estate. I don't think I would invest in real estate with an 18-year-old at the helm. I don't think I would invest in real estate with a 20 or 25-year-old at the helm. But I would say if you want to go the route of real estate, get a job out of college, work for a few years, save up your money, work with a real estate agent who is trustworthy and who can help you identify a property and start there. So number one is real estate. Number two is equity. Okay, so equity you're going to get through either starting your own business or B, investing in someone else's business and being a majority or a pretty sizable shareholder. Now, you can just go on the open stock market and buy stocks and mutual funds and ETFs. That is a way of owning equity. But if you want to be a millionaire before you are age 30, you need to have significant equity holdings in a successful business. Now, the drawback of doing this is that most successful businesses, and a lot of people don't realize this, and a lot of people don't talk about this on YouTube, it's often not the first business that an entrepreneur starts that's successful. It may not even be the second business. It's often the third business that really is very successful. Why? Starting a business is really, really, really hard and requires a lot of money. So oftentimes the 20s to 30s are spent by an entrepreneur struggling or failing in businesses before they get that home run in either the late 30s or early 40s. So what I would say is invest in somebody else's business, or you should be working for someone else and learning the ropes of someone else's business. Learn from someone else's mistakes before you start your own business. Most 20-somethings don't have the knowledge or experience or the reserves necessary to start a successful business and be a sizable equity holder. Now, YouTube, the fast money community will have you believe that anyone at any time can start a business. Entrepreneurship in American society is tremendously oversold at all parts of our life experience. And there is a success bias on YouTube. What I find is in a lot of these fast money videos, they oversimplify a lot of the process of starting the business. They skip steps or they don't adequately disclose the risk that you are taking. So, I would say nix the YouTube, start a business, work for someone's business, watch them, learn from their failures. And when you're ready, and that may be in your late 20s, early 30s, or even early 40s, you can start your own business. But don't underestimate the amount of risk that you are taking on. Most entrepreneurs have had at least one or two failed businesses in their past. Can you handle having a failed business? Can you handle going bankrupt? Can you handle the relationship strain that it may cause? Can you handle living out of your car and eating ramen noodles? A lot of people can't handle that, but they want to be entrepreneurs. So the second thing I would tell someone who wants to be a millionaire before the age of business, besides real estate, is being a sizable equity holder in a business, but assess, do you really have the chops to own and run your own business? The third way that you can become a millionaire by age 30 is intellectual property. Okay, so that's royalties, that's writing a book, writing a screenplay, that is creating software, that is creating a YouTube channel and having it do really, really well. It's basically selling some intellectual property or talent or skill to the world and controlling the rights to what you are selling to the world. Now, this is a little bit tricky for a 20, 30-year-old, and there are plenty 20, 30 years olds out there who are extremely talented. But for the most part, those are the decades of your life that you are building up skill and expertise in certain area so that you can hit your earning peaks in maybe your later 30s or in your 40s. It took me a decade to gain the knowledge and experience necessary to be able to confidently do this YouTube channel and be able to provide value and experience to people. So, but I'm at a stage in my life and my career where I can develop intellectual property over time and eventually copyright it and have it be something that pays dividends or royalties to me into the future. So if you're 30 and you're looking for the ticket to become a millionaire, real estate, sizable equity ownership in a successful business, intellectual property, those are the 3 ways to go. So there you have it. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. And if you found this information useful, please do subscribe. Thank you.